Hi, my name is Jordan, and I'm an auditing major.
I'm Ryan, and I'm also an auditor.
And I'm Leah, and I'm also in auditing. And today we're going to talk about the movie An Inconvenient Tax. We want to discuss the growing complexity of the tax system and possible things to do instead of the current federal income tax. In the past, the income tax was rejected due to the public belief that it took away from the earnings of hardworking people. People saw their income as theirs, not the government's. Public opinion may be coming back around towards this point as people express more discontent with the tax system America has, as well as the overall fiscal tendencies of the government. We chose this topic because there are 62,000 estimated pages to the tax code, and even accountants can't do their own tax returns due to the difficulty. Why should something as patriotic as paying taxes be left up to professionals? A tax system should not be hard to understand for the average American citizen. It makes the task of paying taxes more daunting than it should be, and it makes the taxpayer unmotivated to pay.
Albert Einstein once wrote, "The hardest thing in the world is to understand the income tax." In the last 20 years, I think we've amended the thing 14,000 times, added over 3 million new words, Forbes says in the film. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance recognizes the consensual ignorance regarding the tax system, explaining that virtually no one in Congress has a sufficient grasp of the code. According to Inconvenient Tax, there are 70 lobbyists for every senator. This leads to complex deductions, exemptions, and businesses and individuals taking advantage of the tax system. It also leads to the monster of a tax code that we have today.
Okay, so there's a couple possible solutions out there that a lot of people are talking about. One is the flat tax, which seems fair on the surface, but 8% of a millionaire's money is not the same thing as 8% of a poor person's income. So theoretically, I think you could argue that this is a regressive tax rather than a flat tax. Another possible solution out there is a sales tax, which seems to me to be most fair. The rich who would technically buy the most under this system would also be paying the most in taxes because they tend to buy more products and every product would be taxed. So, and then lower income people would have rebates that would be given to them monthly, and that would help out with poor people having to pay more into the system than what they're getting out of it. The tax isn't covering the cost of the deficit or the spending currently. It's really out of control, and I think that the current income tax system is just not raising enough revenue, and it's not supplying the country with what it needs to pay off the deficit.
As my fellow students have just explained, as well as in the film An Inconvenient Tax, our tax code has increased into such a complex problem that virtually no one can possibly even understand its entirety. People may actually become unwilling to pay their own taxes because of this, or possibly in the future they may not even be able to afford to have their taxes professionally done. Some solutions are being tossed around, but nothing has been done to drastically improve or simplify the tax code. This monster is due to many reasons discussed in the movie, such as wars, economic crises, disasters, political favors, and so on. Time is drawing near for change, as we will all be affected by this in the future, but more so our future generations.